Good evening, and welcome to Quiet British Nights. Before we begin, just take a slow, gentle breath in, and let it fall away, nice and easy. You don't need to focus too much on the story tonight. You can simply listen, or drift, or even fall asleep whenever you like. There's nothing expected of you here. No effort, no pressure, just rest. Let your shoulders soften, your jaw unclench, and your thoughts begin to slow. The day is over now, and this time is just for you. So settle in, get comfortable, and allow yourself to gently unwind.
Take a slow, gentle breath. There is nowhere you need to go tonight. Nothing you need to do. Just allow yourself to settle comfortably, wherever you are resting now. Perhaps you are lying beneath a warm blanket. Perhaps the room around you is dim and quiet. Outside your window, in this story, the night has already arrived. And with it comes the gentle rhythm of rain. Not heavy rain. Not a storm. Just a soft, patient rainfall tapping quietly against the glass of a window somewhere nearby. A steady rhythm. A peaceful rhythm. The kind of sound that makes the world feel a little smaller, a little warmer, and a little more peaceful. Tonight, we find ourselves in England. Not in the busy center of a great city, but in a quiet town, somewhere between green hills and winding country roads. A place where time seems to move a little slower, where narrow streets curve gently between rows of old brick buildings, where small lamps glow softly above doorways, and where the night carries the familiar scent of rain and damp stone. In this quiet town, a single street stretches gently downhill. The pavement shines softly beneath the lamplight, reflecting the golden glow of the lamps above. Raindrops fall steadily now. Tap, tap, tap. Each drop landing softly on the pavement. Some fall on the rooftops. Some land on the branches of an old chestnut tree that stands quietly beside the road. Others tap gently against the window of a small shop. A bookshop. But we will come to that soon. For now, let us begin a little further up the street. There, walking slowly beneath the rain, is a traveler. Not rushing, not hurrying, simply walking. Their footsteps are calm and steady against the wet pavement. They carry a small leather satchel over one shoulder. The coat they wear is slightly damp now from the rain, though they do not seem to mind. After all, there is something comforting about walking through a quiet town while the rain falls softly around you. The street is almost empty tonight. A bakery further down the road has already closed for the evening. Its windows are dark now, though a faint scent of warm bread still lingers in the cool air. Across the street stands a small tea shop. Inside, a single lamp glows behind lace curtains. Perhaps the owner is tidying the last cups and saucers before going home for the night. But our traveler continues walking, step by step, unhurried. There is something peaceful about this walk. Something quiet and thoughtful. Perhaps they have traveled a long way. Perhaps they simply enjoy wandering through places they have never seen before. The rain continues its gentle music against rooftops and windows. And as the traveler reaches the bend in the street, something catches their eye. A warm light. Not bright. Not harsh. Just a soft golden glow shining from the window of a small shop. The traveler slows, because there is something about this shop that feels inviting, almost as if it has been quietly waiting here all evening. The sign above the window is made from dark wood. It sways slightly in the breeze. The painted letters are old, but still easy to read. They say, "Willow, just the rain, the warm light, and the quiet promise of stories waiting patiently on those shelves." There is something deeply comforting about old bookshops. They are places where time slows down, where the outside world feels distant, where every shelf holds a small doorway into another life, another journey, another quiet adventure. The traveler steps closer to the door. The handle is brass, polished smooth by many years of use. Just above it hangs a small bell. A simple bell, but one that has likely greeted many visitors over the years. For a moment, the traveler pauses. The rain continues falling gently behind them. Tap, tap, tap. Then slowly, they reach out. Their hand wraps around the cool brass handle. The door opens with a soft wooden creak, and the little bell above the door gives a gentle chime. A soft sound, not loud, just enough to whisper that someone new has arrived. Warm air greets them immediately. The scent of old paper drifts through the air. Old books, polished wood, and somewhere, very faintly, the warm smell of cinnamon tea. Inside, the bookshop is quiet. Very quiet. The sort of quiet that feels peaceful rather than empty. Tall wooden shelves rise from floor to ceiling, each one filled with books. Hundreds of them, perhaps thousands. Some are neatly arranged. Others lean gently against their neighbors as though resting. A ladder stands beside one of the taller shelves, its wooden steps slightly worn from years of careful climbing. Small lamps sit on tables between the shelves, casting pools of warm golden light across the room. The rain can still be heard outside, but here inside the shop, it sounds softer now, more distant, almost like a lullaby against the windows. The traveler steps inside and gently closes the door behind them. The bell chimes one last time. Then the shop returns to silence. For a moment, they simply stand there, breathing in the quiet atmosphere, feeling the calm that seems to settle naturally inside this place. Some bookshops feel busy, crowded, but this one feels different. This one feels peaceful, almost as though every book here has been carefully waiting for the right reader to arrive. And tonight, perhaps, one of those books is waiting for our traveler. Somewhere on these shelves, somewhere among the quiet stories, the traveler begins to walk slowly between the shelves. Their footsteps are soft against the wooden floor. Outside, the rain continues tapping gently against the window. And somewhere deeper in the shop, a kettle begins to softly simmer. But we will discover that part of the story soon. For now, our traveler moves quietly through the narrow paths between the bookshelves, looking, wondering, and feeling the calm embrace of a place where stories sleep patiently until someone comes along to wake them. The traveler moves slowly through the quiet aisles of the bookshop. The wooden floor beneath their feet creaks softly with each careful step. Not loudly, just enough to remind them that this old building has been standing here for many years. Outside, The rain continues its gentle rhythm against the windows. Soft, patient, almost like a quiet lullaby drifting through the night. The traveler pauses beside the nearest bookshelf. Rows upon rows of books sit peacefully on the shelves. Some are bound in deep green cloth. Others wear faded red covers with golden lettering that has softened with time. One shelf holds travel journals. Another holds collections of poetry. Further along are thick novels with pages that have grown slightly yellow with age. The traveler runs a finger lightly along the spine of one book. A small line of dust gathers on their fingertip. These books have not been disturbed in quite some time. And yet, nothing about the shop feels abandoned. Instead, it feels cared for, loved, as if someone here takes great care to preserve every story that rests upon these shelves. A soft sound drifts from the back of the shop. The traveler pauses. It is the gentle whistle of a kettle. Somewhere behind a curtain near the back wall, water has begun to boil. A moment later, the curtain moves slightly, and from behind it appears the keeper of the bookshop. He is an older man. His hair is silver and softly combed back. Round glasses rest comfortably on the bridge of his nose. He wears a warm brown cardigan over a white shirt. The sleeves roll just slightly at the wrists. In one hand he carries a small ceramic teapot. In the other, two simple cups. He stops when he notices the traveler standing quietly between the shelves. For a moment, neither of them speaks. The rain continues outside. Then the old bookseller smiles. It is the sort of gentle smile that feels immediately welcoming. "Good evening," he says softly. His voice is calm and warm, like someone who has spent many peaceful hours speaking quietly among books. "Please forgive the kettle. It does like to announce itself." The traveler returns the greeting with a polite nod. "I hope I haven't arrived too late." The bookseller glances toward the clock on the wall. Its brass pendulum swings slowly back and forth. Tick, tock, tick, tock. "Not at all," the bookseller says. This shop rarely minds a late visitor, especially on a rainy evening like this. He gestures gently toward a small wooden table near the center of the shop. "If you would care for some tea, you are very welcome." The traveler accepts. Soon the two of them sit at the little table between the tall shelves. The bookseller pours warm tea into the cups. Steam rises slowly in soft curls. Outside, the rain continues tapping against the window. For a while, neither of them speaks. And that silence does not feel uncomfortable. Some places are like that. Places where silence feels natural. The traveler takes a sip of tea. It is warm and lightly spiced. Perhaps cinnamon. Perhaps something else as well. "This shop is wonderful," the traveler says quietly. The bookseller smiles again. "It has been here for a long time. Longer than most people realize." He looks slowly around the room. At the shelves. At the quiet rows of books. Many of these stories have waited years for the right reader. The traveler glances toward the shelves. "So you believe books find their readers?" The bookseller chuckles softly. "I believe stories are patient." He sets his cup gently on the table. "And sometimes, they wait until the right moment to be discovered." The rain grows slightly softer outside now. Almost like a whisper, the traveler looks again toward the shelves. So many books. The bookseller nods. Every one of them has traveled a long way to reach this shop. Some were brought from old estates. Some from distant cities. Some from forgotten attics where they had slept quietly for decades. The traveler finishes their tea. The warmth spreads gently through their chest. A comfortable calm begins to settle in the quiet space. You are welcome to explore, the bookseller says. There is no hurry here. The traveler stands once more and walks deeper into the shop. Past shelves of poetry. Past travel journals. Past small collections of letters written many years ago. Then something unusual catches their eye. Near the far corner of the shop stands a narrow shelf all by itself. It is smaller than the others, and upon it rests only a few books. Just 5. Each one bound in dark leather. Each one worn gently by time. The traveler steps closer. Something about these books feels different. Quieter somehow. Almost as though they carry stories that are meant to be read slowly. Carefully. Respectfully. The traveler reaches for one of the books. The leather cover is smooth and cool beneath their fingers. There is no title on the front. No author's name. Just a single small symbol pressed into the leather. A tiny silver star. Behind them, the bookseller speaks again. You have found one of the traveling books. The traveler turns slightly. Traveling books. The bookseller nods. They are rather special. Each one contains a story that takes the reader somewhere unexpected. The traveler looks again at the small silver star. What kind of journey? The bookseller smiles softly. The quiet kind. He leans back slightly in his chair. The sort of journey that begins with turning a single page. Outside, the rain continues to fall gently. The traveler opens the book. The pages inside are old. Soft. The ink is written in elegant handwriting. And as the traveler begins to read the first line, something very curious begins to happen. The quiet bookshop around them seems to grow softer, more distant. The sound of the rain becomes deeper, warmer, almost like the sound of rain falling on a distant roof. And slowly, very slowly, the story inside the book begins to carry the traveler somewhere else entirely. The traveler slowly turns the first page. The paper is soft and slightly textured beneath their fingertips. It carries the faint scent of age, the quiet fragrance that old books gather after many years of patient waiting. The ink on the page is written in elegant handwriting, each letter carefully shaped, each word resting calmly beside the next. For a moment, the traveler simply looks at the page. The warm light of the bookshop lamp falls gently across the paper. Outside, the rain continues tapping softly against the window. Tap, tap, tap. The sound feels distant now, almost as if the world outside the bookshop has grown softer, quieter. The traveler begins to read. Slowly, calmly, and as the first lines unfold, something curious begins to happen. The quiet bookshop seems to drift slightly further away. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but gently, like a boat drifting away from the shore of a peaceful lake. The words on the page describe another evening, another place, another quiet journey. And slowly, the traveler begins to see it. A railway station. Not a large station in a busy city, but a small countryside station somewhere in England. It is evening there as well. The sky is deep blue, slowly fading toward night. Soft lanterns hang beneath the station roof, casting warm golden light across the platform. A light mist hangs in the cool air. The platform is nearly empty. Only a few travelers wait quietly beside the tracks. A man with a folded newspaper. A woman holding a small leather suitcase. And somewhere near the end of the platform stands a long wooden bench. The bench is old but well cared for. Its wood polished smooth by many years of use. The traveler in the book sits quietly upon that bench. Yes, another traveler. Another journey beginning. This traveler carries a small satchel as well. Inside it rests a single book, not unlike the one being read now. In the distance, a low sound begins to echo across the hills. A train. Not a loud train. Not the thunder of a fast express, but the gentle, steady rhythm of an evening train slowly approaching the station. The rails begin to hum softly. A faint vibration travels through the wooden boards of the platform. The lantern light flickers slightly in the cool evening breeze. The traveler on the bench watches the empty track stretching into the distance. There is no hurry here. No rush. Even the train seems to approach with patient calm. The sound grows a little louder now. A soft rolling rhythm. Metal wheels turning slowly along quiet rails. The train soon appears beyond the bend in the track. Its lantern glows warmly through the evening mist. Steam drifts gently upward from the engine, white and soft against the darkening sky. The train slows as it approaches the platform. Not with screeching brakes, but with a long, quiet sigh of steam. The wheels turn slower and slower until finally the train comes to a gentle stop beside the platform. The doors open with a soft click. A conductor steps down onto the platform. He wears a long dark coat and a small cap. His lantern glows warmly in his hand. "Evening," he says softly to the waiting travelers. His voice is calm, friendly, unhurried. The passengers step forward one by one, each carrying their bags, each beginning their quiet journey into the night. The traveler on the bench rises slowly. They lift their satchel and walk toward the nearest carriage. Inside, the train is warm. Soft lamps glow above the seats. The wooden walls of the carriage shine gently beneath the light. A few passengers are already seated, most of them reading quietly. One elderly gentleman gazes peacefully out the window. Across from him sits a young woman knitting a long wool scarf. The traveler finds an empty seat near the window. They place their satchel beside them. Outside, the station lanterns glow softly through the mist. The conductor steps back onto the train. The door closes gently. Then comes the soft sound of the whistle. Not sharp, not startling, just a quiet signal drifting into the evening air. The train begins to move. Slowly at first. The wheels turn gently along the rails. Clack, clack, clack. The rhythm is steady, comforting, almost like the slow ticking of a clock. Outside the window, the small station begins to drift away. The lanterns grow smaller. The platform fades softly into the mist. Soon the train is traveling through the countryside. Rolling hills stretch across the darkening landscape. Small cottages glow with warm light in distant fields. A few sheep rest quietly beneath old oak trees. The sky grows darker now. Stars begin appearing between the drifting clouds. Inside the carriage, the soft hum of the train creates a peaceful rhythm. Passengers grow quieter. Some continue reading. Others close their eyes and rest. The traveler leans back slightly in their seat. Outside, rain begins to fall. Soft rain. The kind that taps gently against the train windows. Tap, tap, tap. The sound is remarkably familiar. Almost like the rain that was falling outside the bookshop window. The traveler listening to the story inside the bookshop begins to feel something curious. The sound of rain from the book. The sound of rain outside the shop. They blend together. Soft, gentle, peaceful. The train continues its journey through the quiet countryside. And somewhere deeper within the pages of the traveling book, another story waits patiently to be discovered. The train moves steadily through the quiet countryside. Its wheels follow the rails with a slow and comforting rhythm. Clack, clack, clack. The sound repeats again and again. Not loud. Not distracting. Just a gentle reminder that the journey continues forward through the calm English night. Inside the carriage, the lamps glow with a warm golden light. Their soft illumination fills the wooden compartment with a peaceful glow. Outside the window, the darkness of the countryside stretches quietly across the land. Occasionally, the train passes a distant farmhouse. For a brief moment, a single yellow window shines across the fields. Then it fades again into the night as the train continues onward. The rain taps softly against the glass. Tap, tap, tap. Each drop slides slowly down the window pane before disappearing into the darkness below. The traveler watches these drops for a while. There is something strangely soothing about rain on a moving train. The rhythm of the wheels beneath the carriage. The gentle tapping of rain against the glass. The soft humming of the engine somewhere ahead. Together, they form a quiet melody of travel. A melody that has carried countless passengers across quiet landscapes for many years. Across the aisle, the elderly gentleman slowly folds his newspaper. He adjusts his spectacles and looks out the window. His expression is peaceful. Perhaps he has taken this journey many times before. Perhaps he knows the countryside well enough that even in darkness he recognizes the hills and the winding rivers. The young woman knitting her scarf continues her quiet work. The needles click softly together. Click, click, click. The scarf has grown longer now. A gentle shade of blue wool falls neatly across her lap. It sways slightly with the motion of the train. Further down the carriage, a small lantern hangs from a brass hook near the door. Its flame flickers very gently each time the train passes over a small bend in the track. The traveler shifts slightly in their seat. The warmth of the carriage feels comforting. Outside, the rain grows a little steadier now. Still gentle, but constant. The drops form small trails of water that weave slowly across the window glass. Beyond them, the countryside moves quietly past. Occasionally a small bridge appears beneath the train. The sound changes for a moment. The wheels rumble softly across wooden planks. Then the steady rhythm returns once more. Clack, clack, clack. The traveler begins to feel a growing sense of calm. The kind of calm that comes when the body realizes there is nothing left to do for the evening. No tasks waiting. No responsibilities pressing. Just the quiet journey. The elderly gentleman across the aisle closes his eyes now. His breathing slows. He rests comfortably against the seat. The young woman finishes another row of knitting and pauses. She gazes out the window for a moment, watching the rain, watching the faint reflection of the carriage lights upon the glass. Then she too leans back slightly. Her knitting rests quietly in her lap. The train continues deeper into the countryside. Rolling hills rise gently beneath the dark sky. Somewhere far away, an owl calls softly from a distant tree. Its quiet hoot drifts across the fields before fading into the night. Inside the carriage, the warmth and rhythm of the train create a peaceful atmosphere. The traveler reaches into their satchel. Inside, they find a small notebook. The cover is simple, worn leather. Perhaps it has traveled many miles already. They open it slowly. Inside are blank pages, empty and waiting. The traveler takes a pencil and begins to write. Not long sentences, just small observations. The rain sounds softer on a train window. The countryside feels endless at night. The rhythm of the rails feels like breathing. The pencil moves slowly across the page. The words are simple, calm, unhurried. Eventually the traveler closes the notebook again. They rested beside them on the seat. Outside the rain begins to soften once more. The clouds above the countryside begin to thin. And slowly, gently, the moon appears between them. Silver light spreads across the hills. Fields glow faintly beneath the quiet sky. Small rivers reflect the moonlight as the train passes over narrow bridges. The traveler watches this peaceful landscape for a while. There is something timeless about traveling at night. Something that makes the world feel calm and patient. As if the earth itself is resting while the train glides quietly across its surface. Inside the carriage, the conductor appears at the door. He moves slowly through the aisle. His lantern swings gently beside him. Its warm light dances across the wooden walls. He pauses beside each passenger, checking tickets quietly, speaking in soft voices so as not to disturb those who have begun to sleep. When he reaches the traveler, he gives a polite nod. Comfortable journey so far. His voice is calm. The traveler nods. Very comfortable. The conductor smiles. Good. He glances out the window briefly. The countryside is especially peaceful tonight. Then he continues down the aisle. The lantern light slowly fades as he moves toward the next carriage. Soon the door closes behind him. The quiet returns. The traveler leans back slightly in their seat. The steady motion of the train continues. Clack, clack, clack. Outside, the moon now shines clearly between drifting clouds. The rain has almost stopped. Only an occasional drop slides quietly down the glass. The countryside grows even darker as the train enters a region of tall trees. A forest. Ancient oaks rise on either side of the track. Their branches stretch high into the night sky. Moonlight filters softly through the leaves. Shadows drift slowly across the ground. The train glides gently through this sleeping forest. And within the quiet carriage, one by one, passengers begin to fall asleep. The elderly gentleman breathes slowly now. The young woman's knitting rests forgotten in her lap. And the traveler, listening to the rhythm of the rails and the fading sound of rain, begins to feel their eyelids grow just a little heavier. The journey continues. Quiet, steady, unhurried. And somewhere far ahead, another small station waits patiently in the night. The train continues its slow journey through the countryside. For a long while, nothing changes. The rhythm of the rails continues beneath the carriage. Clack, clack, clack. The sound is steady, predictable, comforting. Inside the carriage, the lamps glow softly above the seats. Most of the passengers have now fallen asleep. The elderly gentleman rests quietly with his hands folded across his coat. The young woman's knitting has slipped gently into the basket beside her seat. Her breathing is slow and calm. Even the train itself seems quieter now. The engine hums softly in the distance, as though it too has settled into the peaceful rhythm of the night. The traveler gazes out of the window. Beyond the glass, the countryside continues to drift by. Fields, hedgerows, clusters of tall oak trees standing silently in the moonlight. Occasionally the train crosses a narrow river. The water below reflects the moon in soft rippling patterns. Then the river disappears behind them once again. The traveler does not know exactly where this train is going. And strangely, that feels perfectly fine. Sometimes a journey does not need a destination. Sometimes it is enough simply to travel. To listen to the quiet sounds of the night. To watch the world pass gently by. After some time, the train begins to slow. At first the change is subtle. The rhythm of the wheels grows slightly softer. The distance between each clack grows a little longer. Clack, clack, clack. The traveler notices the change and looks out the window again. In the distance, a small glow appears in the darkness. A lantern, then another, and another. Slowly, a tiny station begins to appear beside the tracks. It is much smaller than the one where the journey began. Just a simple wooden platform. A small waiting shelter. And 3 lanterns hanging from curved iron hooks. Their warm light spills gently across the platform boards. The train slows even further. Steam drifts softly around the wheels. The engine releases a long, quiet sigh. Finally, the train rolls to a gentle stop beside the platform. The traveler looks around the carriage. No one else seems to wake. The elderly gentleman continues sleeping peacefully. The young woman rests with her head against the window. Even the conductor does not appear immediately. For a moment, the station outside remains perfectly still. The lanterns sway slightly in the cool night breeze. Their light flickers softly across the wooden boards. Beyond the station, the countryside stretches out into darkness. Wide open fields, low rolling hills, and above them, a sky filled with quiet stars. The traveler feels a gentle curiosity. They stand slowly from their seat. The carriage door slides open with a soft click. Cool night air drifts inside. It carries the fresh scent of grass and damp earth after rain. The traveler steps down onto the platform. The wood beneath their feet creaks softly. For a moment, they simply stand there, listening. The countryside at night has its own quiet music. Crickets chirp softly in the grass. A distant owl calls somewhere beyond the fields. The wind moves gently through tall hedges beside the station. And far above, Clouds drift slowly across the moon. The traveler walks slowly along the platform. At the far end stands a small wooden sign. Its paint is slightly faded, but the name of the station can still be read. Ashford Hollow. A peaceful name. A quiet place. Beside the sign stands a narrow path. It leads away from the station, out into the countryside. Small lanterns hang along the path at gentle intervals. Their soft light stretches across the gravel trail. The traveler looks back toward the train. The engine waits patiently beside the platform. Steam drifts slowly upward into the cool night air. For a moment, it almost seems as though the train is waiting to see whether the traveler will return, or whether the journey will continue somewhere else. The traveler looks again toward the lantern path. Something about it feels inviting. Not mysterious, not dangerous, simply calm, peaceful, as though it leads somewhere quiet and welcoming. Without hurry, the traveler begins walking along the path. The gravel crunches softly beneath their shoes. The lanterns glow warmly overhead, each one casting a small circle of golden light onto the ground. The countryside stretches quietly on both sides. Tall grass moves gently in the breeze. A small wooden gate appears further along the path. Beyond it lies a meadow. Moonlight spreads across the open field. Small wildflowers sway softly in the night air. The traveler pauses at the gate. They rest their hand on the wooden latch. The wood feels cool beneath their fingers. For a moment, they listen again to the quiet sounds of the countryside. The distant train, the soft wind, the quiet insects in the grass. Everything feels calm, unhurried. The traveler opens the gate. It swings slowly on its hinges. Beyond the meadow, another light glows faintly in the distance. Not a lantern this time. A window, warm yellow light shining from a small cottage. Smoke drifts gently from the chimney. The traveler begins walking toward it. Step by step across the meadow. The grass whispers softly around their shoes. The cottage grows closer. Its stone walls glow softly beneath the moonlight. And as the traveler approaches, they begin to notice something comforting. Through the window, shelves of books can be seen. Many books, just like the quiet bookshop from earlier in the evening. But this cottage feels even more peaceful, even more still, as if it has been waiting patiently here in the countryside for many years. Waiting for someone to arrive. Waiting for someone who has followed the gentle path through the night. And now, at last, the traveler stands before its wooden door. The traveler stands quietly before the small cottage door. Moonlight spreads gently across the stone walls. The soft glow from the window spills out into the night, forming a warm rectangle of light on the grass. For a moment, the traveler simply watches. Inside, shadows move slowly across the shelves. Not quickly, not in any hurried way. Just the quiet shifting of light from a lantern or a fire somewhere deeper in the room. The meadow behind the traveler rustles softly in the night breeze. Tall grass sways gently beneath the moon. The air smells fresh after the rain. A mixture of damp earth, wildflowers, and distant wood smoke drifting from the cottage chimney. The traveler walks slowly toward the door. Their footsteps make only the faintest sound against the stone path. The door itself is made from dark oak. It looks old, older than the station. older perhaps than the railway itself. Its surface carries small marks and gentle scratches from many years of use. Above the handle hangs a small iron lantern. Its flame burns steadily behind the glass. Warm and calm. The traveler lifts their hand and taps softly on the door. Just once. A gentle knock. For a moment, nothing happens. The countryside remains quiet. The breeze moves slowly across the meadow. The lantern light flickers softly. Then, from inside the cottage, comes the faint sound of footsteps. Slow footsteps. Careful. Unhurried. The latch turns quietly. The door opens just a little. Warm light spills into the night air. Standing in the doorway is an elderly woman. Her hair is silver, gathered loosely at the back of her head. She wears a long wool cardigan the color of autumn leaves. In one hand she holds a small oil lamp. Its golden glow illuminates the doorway. For a moment, she studies the traveler. Not with surprise. Not with suspicion. Just with a calm and knowing expression. Almost as though she expected someone to arrive this evening. "Good evening," she says softly. Her voice is gentle, warm, like someone who has spent many peaceful evenings speaking quietly beside a fireplace. The traveler returns the greeting. "I hope I'm not disturbing you." The woman smiles slightly. No disturbance at all. She opens the door a little wider. "You must have come from the station." The traveler nods. "Yes. The lantern path is easy to follow," the woman says kindly. "Especially on a clear night like this." She steps aside and gestures toward the inside of the cottage. "Please come in. The evening air is growing cooler." The traveler steps across the threshold. Immediately, warmth surrounds them. Not just the warmth of the room, but the warmth of a place that has been lived in quietly for many years. The cottage is small but comfortable. A stone fireplace glows gently along one wall. A small fire burns inside, its flames flickering softly. The scent of burning oak fills the room with a calm and earthy aroma. Bookshelves line nearly every wall. Tall ones. Short ones. Some filled with neatly arranged books. Others holding small stacks of journals and notebooks. A large wooden table stands near the center of the room. Several open books rest upon its surface. Beside them sits a teapot and two ceramic cups. Steam curls slowly upward, as though the tea has only just been prepared. The traveler notices something curious. Many of the books here look familiar. Not identical to the ones in the bookshop earlier that evening, but similar, old, well cared for, full of quiet stories waiting patiently on their shelves. The elderly woman closes the door gently behind them. The sound of the wind outside grows softer. The crackling of the fire becomes clearer. "Please sit," she says, gesturing toward a chair beside the table. The traveler sits down slowly. The chair creaks quietly beneath their weight. The woman pours tea into the two cups. The liquid glows amber in the warm firelight. She slides one cup across the table. The traveler takes it gratefully. The warmth of the cup spreads through their hands. For a few moments, neither of them speaks. They simply listen to the fire. The soft crackle of wood. The occasional pop as a small spark rises briefly before fading away. Outside, the wind moves gently through the meadow grass. Eventually, the traveler looks around the room again. There are many books here. The woman nods. Yes. Her eyes drift slowly across the shelves. Each one carries a journey. The traveler lifts their cup and takes a slow sip of tea. It tastes slightly different from the tea in the bookshop earlier. A little sweeter. Perhaps honey. Perhaps herbs gathered from the nearby hills. Do many travelers come here? The traveler asks. The woman smiles again. Not many. She walks slowly toward one of the bookshelves. But the ones who do arrive usually come at just the right time. She selects a book from the shelf. Its cover is deep blue cloth. The edges of its pages are softly worn. The woman places it gently on the table. This one is a favorite of mine. The traveler looks at the cover. There is no title. Only a small silver star pressed into the cloth. The same symbol as the traveling book from the bookshop. The traveler glances up. The same mark. The woman nods. Yes. She returns to her seat. The traveling stories. The fire crackles softly behind them. The lantern light sways gently above the table. The woman folds her hands together. Some stories, she says quietly, are meant to carry readers somewhere peaceful. The traveler listens carefully. Some lead to trains. Some lead to quiet paths. And some lead to small cottages where stories rest beside warm fires. The traveler feels a strange calm settling over them, as though the evening journey has been guiding him gently toward this place all along. Outside, clouds drift slowly across the moon. The meadow grows even quieter. Inside the cottage, the warmth of the fire and the soft glow of the lantern fill the room with a peaceful stillness. The elderly woman opens the blue book. Its pages rustle softly, and as the traveler leans closer to read, another quiet story begins. The elderly woman opens the blue book slowly. The pages move softly beneath her fingers. They carry the quiet sound that only very old paper can make. A gentle rustle, soft, almost like the sound of leaves moving in a calm evening breeze. The traveler leans slightly closer to the table. The lantern above them sways gently. Its warm light spreads across the open page. The silver star on the cover glints faintly in the firelight. For a moment, the woman does not begin reading. Instead, she looks toward the fireplace. The flames move slowly across the logs. Orange and gold light dances across the stone walls of the cottage. Outside the small window, the meadow lies peaceful beneath the moon. The tall grass moves softly in the wind. Crickets continue their quiet music in the distance. Finally, the woman begins to speak. Her voice is slow, gentle, like someone telling a story that has been told many times before. This story, she says quietly, begins beside a lake. The traveler looks down at the page. But strangely, the words written there seem almost unnecessary. The woman's voice alone paints the scene clearly. In the traveler's mind, the cottage begins to fade. Not completely, but softly, like a memory drifting to the edge of awareness. In its place appears the image of a calm lake. Wide, still, its surface reflecting the pale light of early morning. Mist rises gently from the water. Thin strands of white drifting slowly across the lake. The air there feels cool, fresh, the kind of air that exists just before the sun fully rises. Beside the lake stands a small wooden pier. Its planks are old but strong. The wood has been smoothed by years of water and wind. At the end of the pier rests a small rowboat. It rocks gently with the slow movement of the lake. Not far from the shore stands a cottage. Not unlike the one where the traveler now sits. Its roof is covered with moss. Its chimney sends a thin ribbon of smoke into the quiet morning sky. In the doorway stands a man. He stretches slowly as the first light of morning spreads across the water. He carries a fishing rod in one hand, a small wooden box in the other. He walks slowly down the path toward the pier. His boots make soft sounds against the damp earth. Birds begin to stir in the trees nearby. Their songs drift across the lake. Simple melodies greeting the new day. The man reaches the end of the pier. He sets down his small wooden box. Then he sits quietly on the edge of the dock. For a while, he does nothing at all. He simply watches the surface of the lake. The mist drifting across the water. The gentle ripples forming where small fish move beneath the surface. The sun rises slowly behind the hills. Golden light spreads across the lake. The water glows softly. Soon the mist begins to lift. Birds fly across the sky. Their wings move slowly through the cool morning air. The man prepares his fishing line. He works slowly, carefully. There is no hurry. This morning is long. The lake is patient. The world feels calm and untroubled. He casts the line into the water. The float lands with a soft plop. Small circles spread across the surface of the lake. Then the water grows still again. The man leans back slightly. He rests his hands comfortably on his knees. The fishing rod rests gently in his fingers. And once again, he waits. Waiting beside water has its own quiet rhythm. The breeze moves softly through the reeds. Birdsong comes and goes. The lake laps gently against the wooden pier. Time seems to stretch in peaceful ways. Minutes feel longer. Thoughts grow quieter. The man watches the float resting on the water. But he does not focus on it too carefully. Instead, he watches the sunlight dancing across the lake. He listens to the birds in the trees. He breathes the cool morning air. After some time, the float moves slightly. Just a small motion. The man lifts the rod. He reels slowly, carefully. Soon a small fish breaks the surface of the lake. Its silver scales shimmer in the morning light. The man smiles quietly. He places the fish gently into a bucket beside him. Then he casts the line once more. And the quiet morning continues. Back inside the cottage, the traveler listens to the woman's voice. The story flows slowly, peacefully. The fire crackles softly beside them. The lantern light glows warm and steady. The traveler feels their shoulders relax. The calm of the lake. The slow movements of the fisherman. The quiet rhythm of water and birds and morning light. All of it begins to settle gently in the mind. Outside, the meadow continues to whisper in the wind. Inside the cottage, the woman turns another page. The story continues. Slow, calm, unhurried. The man by the lake casts his line one last time. The morning sun has fully risen now, spilling soft golden light across the water. The birds sing gently, their notes blending with the subtle rustling of leaves in the breeze. The fisherman rests his rod against the pier and leans back. His eyes close slowly. The lake is calm. The water reflects the sky in soft ripples. He breathes in deeply, in and out. The quiet rhythm of the world around him feels steady. Comforting. Perfectly balanced. Moments like these do not demand anything. They simply exist. The float drifts lazily across the lake. A fish swims silently beneath. The man lets the sun warm his face. And for a long while, nothing else matters. The story within the cottage slows further. Each word spoken by the elderly woman drifts gently into the mind of the traveler. Like warm sunlight on a still pond. The gentle flicker of the lantern above. The crackle of the fire in the hearth. All of it combines into a quiet, peaceful rhythm. A rhythm that encourages stillness. A rhythm that makes breathing slow. Even the outside world seems to soften. The meadow outside the cottage sways gently in the breeze. The distant trees stand motionless but alive in their quiet way. The traveler sits comfortably, feeling the calm flow through their body. The story finishes its course slowly. The fisherman rises from the pier. He takes one last look at the lake. Then he walks slowly back toward his small cottage beside the shore. Inside, he places the fishing rod and the bucket aside. He sits by the fireplace, a soft cup of tea in hand. Outside, the wind whispers through the reeds and grasses. The day begins fully now. But inside, the calm remains. And the story ends as it began, quietly, gently, without rush. The traveler closes their eyes for a brief moment. They feel the weight of the peaceful morning still resting in their chest. The elderly woman folds the blue book carefully. Its silver star glints softly in the firelight. She places it back on the shelf. Stories like this, she says softly, exist to carry the reader somewhere calm. She smiles gently. Somewhere they can rest, if only for a little while. The traveler nods quietly. The calm of the story settles around them like a soft blanket. The fire crackles softly behind them. The lantern sways gently above. Outside, the meadow whispers in the early morning breeze. And the traveler feels fully present in the quiet moment. The traveler rises slowly from the chair beside the fire. The warmth of the cottage lingers in their chest. The meadow outside glows faintly in the soft morning light. The tall grass sways gently in the breeze. Birdsong drifts faintly from the distant hedgerows. The traveler feels a quiet pull. A gentle, almost invisible thread guiding him back. Back along the lantern path. Back toward the quiet station. The door of the cottage closes softly behind them. Its wooden frame glows warmly in the early morning light. The path stretches calmly before them. Each lantern casts a circle of gentle golden light upon the ground. The gravel crunches softly beneath their feet. Step by step. Slowly. Unhurried. The meadow stretches quietly on both sides. Dew glistens on the grass in the morning light. Small flowers bend gently beneath the soft weight of water droplets. The traveler follows the path toward the station. The quiet countryside seems to breathe around them. The distant train engine hums faintly. The wind moves softly through the hedgerows. Clack, 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 echoes faintly in memory from the carriage journey. At the small station, the train waits quietly. Its wheels still. Steam drifts lazily into the air. The lanterns along the platform sway softly in the breeze. The traveler pauses for a moment. They gaze down the empty rails stretching into the countryside. The station is peaceful, silent, Waiting. Step by step, they walk along the platform. Then up the carriage steps. The door closes quietly behind them. Inside, the warm golden light from the lamp surrounds them. The seats are empty now, except for the gentle memory of the passengers who had once traveled with them through the night. The traveler moves toward the window and gazes outside. The countryside drifts slowly past. Rolling hills, small streams, distant trees, all bathed in the soft glow of dawn. They breathe in the quiet rhythm of the rails. Clack, clack, clack. Steady, unhurried, comforting. The train begins to move again. Slowly at first. Then a gentle, steady pace carries them forward. The traveler leans back in their seat. Their eyes grow heavier. The soft rocking of the carriage lulls them further. The gentle rhythm of the rails blends with the memory of rain tapping on windows. And then, the train begins to fade. Not suddenly, not harshly, but softly, like the mist rolling off a quiet lake. The traveler notices the edges of the carriage blur. The warm glow of lamps, the soft rocking of the seat, the faint hum of the wheels, all begin to dissolve slowly. And in its place, the familiar warmth of the bookshop returns. The traveler finds themselves once again among the quiet shelves. Rows upon rows of books stretch silently in every direction. The wooden floor creaks softly beneath their feet. The old bookseller stands nearby. His gentle smile welcomes them back. "Welcome back," he says softly. "Did you enjoy your journey?" The traveler nods slowly. "Very much." The bookseller gestures toward a comfortable armchair. "Please, sit for a while. The night has been long, and the world outside is only just waking." The traveler sits. The soft golden light from the lamp spreads across the shelves. Dust motes float gently in the air. The quiet of the shop is comforting. Even the faint memory of the rain tapping outside blends seamlessly with the warm interior. The bookseller pours a fresh cup of tea and sets it beside the traveler. The warmth rises slowly from the cup. Calm, gentle, inviting. Outside the windows, the first hints of morning light spread across the street. The shop feels timeless. Outside, the world moves. But inside, everything remains calm. The traveler leans back in the chair. Their eyes grow heavier. The tea warms their hands. The books remain patient on the shelves. Each story waits quietly for the next reader. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, the traveler begins to drift. The traveler sits quietly in the armchair. The lamp above glows warmly. The shelves surround them with the familiar scent of old paper and quiet calm. The teacup rests on the small table beside them. Steam curls gently upward. Outside the window, the world begins to awaken softly. But inside the shop, time moves differently. Slower, softer, calmer. The traveler leans back, eyes half closed. Each breath grows longer, slower. In and out. In and out. The memory of the blue book and the lake. The train, the meadow, the lantern path, they linger gently in the mind. The fire crackles softly. Occasionally, a small pop echoes as a tiny spark rises and fades. The soft sound is almost hypnotic. The bookseller moves quietly about the shop. folding a blanket over a chair, adjusting the lamp. Every motion is deliberate, slow, peaceful. The traveler's head sinks slightly against the chair back. The warmth of the teacup in hand fades slowly, leaving a gentle comfort. Outside, the soft murmur of early morning wind drifts across the window. The light rain from the night before glistens faintly on the glass. Tap, 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 echoes softly in memory. Inside, the armchair feels like a cradle. The gentle creak of the wood beneath, the subtle sway of the chair, the quiet warmth of the fire, all blend into a rhythm of calm. The traveler imagines the blue book resting on a shelf somewhere in the shop, its silver star glinting softly. Stories waiting quietly for the next reader. The lamp above flickers just a little. Shadows stretch slowly across the wooden floor. The traveler breathes in again and out. The shop, the books, the quiet rain, the fire, the lamp, all become one gentle, continuous rhythm. Clack, clack, clack. The memory of train wheels drifts into the mind. Soft, steady, unhurried. The traveler's eyelids grow heavier. The breath slows further. The shoulders relax. Even the mind begins to soften. The bookseller sits quietly nearby, watching over the shop, watching over the traveler. The rain outside fades to a gentle memory. The meadow, the lantern path, the cottage, the lake, all retreat softly into dreams. The fire continues to glow warmly. The lamp above flickers with a steady rhythm. The teacup rests empty but comforting. The traveler drifts further into calm. Thoughts dissolve gently. No urgency. No worry. Only quiet. Only warmth. Only the soft rhythm of the shop. The shelves. The fire. The lamp. The books. The faint sound of wind. The memory of the rain. All merge into a single gentle lullaby. Step by step, moment by moment. In and out. In and out. The traveler's mind drifts with the rhythm of the night. Slowly, softly, unhurried. The body relaxes completely. The mind floats quietly. All that remains is calm. All that remains is peace. All that remains is sleep. And at last, the traveler drifts fully, completely, into a gentle, restful sleep.